Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ada. It's a pleasure to be back. I hope you're having a wonderful day or had a wonderful weekend. I did, and a lot to be thankful for over the past weekend. It was Thanksgiving, and we're back, but we are very much in the holiday period. From Thanksgiving all the way to New Year, it's a holiday period. In any case, guys, I wanted to conclude my series titled The Psychology of Our Beliefs, things that inform our belief systems, how they're created, how they're sustained, and how we adapt them to society, new environments, to our situations, basically how we evolve. So guys, this last one is a very sensitive topic because it's very much prevalent in our society, and that is stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination. How often do you get into an environment where just for the color of your skin, or eyes, or a hairstyle, or the size of your nose or lips, the type of dress you're wearing, or your body size, or body weight, how often are you judged based on your outward appearance, or how you talk, or your culture? We are constantly being judged by our fellow human beings, and the most basic form of judgment is you are addressed how you dress. I'm sure a lot of us have heard that statement, and most people think about it when they think about job interviews and things like that. But basically, on general, you are judged on so many levels. When the saying that "don't judge a book by its cover" it's more words than reality, because you're judging. Basically, there's a book by one of our very own, Ajay, Lovey Ajay. It says, "I'm judging you." And to be honest, from the minute you open your eyes, your brain is scanning and is critical. It's almost like we drink the critical juice or the critical Kool-Aid in our dreams and then wake up and start our day. So why am I going on and on about this? Because it's this judgment, it's this critical part of our brain that initiates and sustains stereotyping, prejudicing, or discrimination. Someone you've never met, why is it that you're quick to it's like you've never met someone before, or you've never been in a particular culture, or you've never been in a particular place, or you've never experienced something with a type of person, if you've never been on a date with a short person or a tall person, a chubby or slender person, if you've never been on a date with a white person or a black person, if you've never been out with friends who are not from your culture or your background, what do you fill up the space of information with? Because our brains are constantly collecting data from our environment. You look at somebody's hair, you look at somebody's eyes, you look at somebody's nose, you look at their mannerisms, you listen to their accents, you listen to their voice inflections. We are constantly picking up information from our environment in order to serve us as communication feedback. I remember, I think it was an Thinking Atheist, or what was it? It was like feedback loop from hell. I think that was the subtle act of not giving where he said, once you go down that path of wrong thinking process, it's like, welcome to the communication feedback loop from hell. Basically, where you just stick to, it's like you imagine something and you stick with it. It's like, this must be the reason, this is all there is. And the problem with that is, your brain is is an assistant. Let me put it that way. Not the most efficient, but effective. I don't know if that makes sense. Effective in the sense that this is what you want to do, it's going to get it done. Your brain is like the end justifies the means. Yeah. And to explain what I mean by that means, Efficient in the sense that it's not good at collecting data that is sufficient to make judgments. If you are pressured, it's like we're feeling like, oh, I need to know something about this person. I need to say something about this person. So basically our brains just pick information and then make up the rest. That's basically what I'm trying to say, that our brains are sort of effective but not efficient. Not that they're not efficient or effective in of themselves. It's just based on our level. If a child's brain or an uneducated person's brain, when I mean uneducated, I don't mean formal education, just general education, basically in terms of how you gather information. If you are ignorant on so many levels, your brain is going to be high on the stereotyping spectrum. Your brain is going to be high on the prejudice spectrum, albeit even more so with discrimination. Now, what's the purpose of all I'm saying before I go into the definitions? Well, here's the thing. A stereotype simply means a particular group of people do a certain thing. You no longer define an individual based off of, who you're looking at. Is white, okay. White people do certain things. Black, okay. This is what all Black people do this. That is stereotype. Now, when it comes to prejudice is when you attach a negative emotion or attitude to it. Ever walk into a restaurant or fast food, maybe not a restaurant, fast food, and you see a chubby person ordering milkshake, large fries, and burgers. Instantly, slender person is going to be like, wow, really? Do I have to say it? If it's to yourself, it might be like, it's just like you're being judgy, because some people don't realize that being chubby isn't just what goes into your mouth. It's also part of what is happening internally. That's the internal metabolism of your body can actually put you on the fat spectrum, and there are people who eat everything and still not get fat. Metabolism. So while some people will eat a string of onions and get fat, other people will eat a whole elephant and still be looking to consume the whole world, right? So prejudice is when you assume a negative, when you have a negative attitude towards a group or of people or, class, thing like that. Just basically the negative aspect of it. That's prejudice. Now, when you act on this, that's discrimination. What does it mean? Well, one leads into the other. Stereotype could be harmless. It's like when people just assume that animals are walking on the streets of Africa. Then you see an African person and you just assume they don't speak English. Or it's like you just put a stereotype out there that people who didn't finish college can't do the same thing that people who finish college. Now, it depends on, oh dear. A stereotype could go from, okay, say you see someone, a typical stereotype back home in Nigeria is Yoruba people like oil, Igbos don't like water when they're eating. And there's a term for that which I refuse to say here, but that's a stereotype. So the thing is, once you see an Igbo person eating, you automatically assume this one is not going to drink water. Or when you see a Yoruba person ordering, you're going to be like, watch for the oil. This person is going to order every fatty and oily dish on the menu. Now, at that point, you might be saying it, you might not be saying it out, but it's just, you are projecting, a social character, or you are projecting, let's say 50% of the Yoruba people you've met, they love oily food. the next person is not going to fare better. In your mind, you're like, probably they all like oily food. Same thing with an Igbo person, probably they all like to eat without water. You know, it's harmless at that point because your brain is just confirming information to you. You could be rude and just make a joke, hey, easy on the oil. And that person is going to be like, what? Just because you heard their name or their attire, something like that, you just assume. Now, let's take it up a notch to prejudice. Prejudice is going to be like, you don't expect a fat person to be ordering fries in a fast food restaurant. It's prejudice. Prejudice is women mechanics. Really? No. Women can't be better mechanics. Prejudice is women shouldn't be in politics. Prejudice is women shouldn't be only preaching in the pulpit. Prejudice is women in science. Yeah, but I think we'll prefer a man who is capable of so and so and so. Women in leadership comes from prejudice. When you attach that people can't do certain things because they are of a certain type, that is prejudice. Now, discrimination is where you say no blacks allowed. You already established that black people are violent, they cannot be trusted, and maybe they're thieves. So you go in front of your store, you write no blacks allowed. You've gone from being prejudiced to actual discrimination. You've gone from saying non-Asians not allowed, only Asians allowed in a place. When you put a restriction and say a certain type of group is not allowed, you've actively taking action on your prejudice. That is discrimination. Do we do it all the time and in such ways? No. Oftentimes our prejudices and acts of discrimination and stereotyping are subtle. Sometimes it's the way you look at a couple. Sometimes it's the way you go to Paris and somebody asks you out, you're like, these people don't know, it's like Paris isn't the place to fall in love because it might not, it's like, it's not real, or you go to a place and you're like, you look at a group of Asians and you're like, they keep to themselves. Maybe they do, but maybe not that group. Maybe that group might be a family member. And if you say hi, they would welcome you or they would show you directions. Or it's like, until you expose yourself to that individual or that group, your brain is likely to just make assumptions and lead you with that assumption about that group. And oftentimes we can be wrong. We might be right on a few occasions, but it doesn't hurt to hold off on the stereotype and the prejudices until you get to know a person. And prejudice is what you think a certain group deserves. It's like, black people should get over it. Get over slavery, get over whatever issues they have. It wasn't me. It's like they should be hardworking like the rest of the world. They don't deserve handouts. And when you see a black person, you just automatically assume that they're lazy. Anyway, guys, and then you of course, discrimination is when you act on your prejudice. So we know that part. So in summary, what I'm hoping you would get out of this is be careful in the subtle ways that you show your stereotyping. If you are meeting a person, every individual is a person, maybe in passing, how about ask? How about approach and ask if you don't know? And sometimes it's safer not to go, so do you guys truly not drink without water? Seriously, that's kind of rude. Or is it true that all Yoruba people really eat oily foods? You could ask, what is behind, you can ask them what are their favorite foods. You know, find out if it's all oily, and perhaps the person can let you know. You know, it's like the story behind it is, you know, that's the thing that sustained the staple diet, and that's why they probably just went with everything that comes from it based off of their history, maybe of famine, their history of the only food that is in their location. You know, there's a lot of explanation behind stereotyping, you know, but the problem with stereotyping is you assume everybody is going to act the same as expected, you know, and you could be wrong and dangerously wrong. You know, you could be hurtful of other people. It's like, and not that they really want to not be associated with it, but it's like, I don't do it, you know, don't think you know me all of a sudden because of that. So guys, in conclusion, don't treat people according to what you think they may be like. Have an encounter and then make judgment. It's always important to have first-hand experience. You know, it's like taking the advice of the stereotype with a grain of salt. That's what it's for. Instead of having a completely no information situation, you could have a bare minimum information and flesh it up from there. Thank you so much for listening, and if you listen to the end of the video, appreciate you. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Take care of yourself. I will see you in my next video. Ta-ta.